folks, Courtney here, and today I want to do a video on what is called deflation of lifestyle. And so this term I heard first on what is called the YouTube channel Go With Less, and I want to give them credit because even though the concept is something I have talked about, that's the first time I had heard it coined, deflation of lifestyle. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that means and when to do it. So I have talked about this as what we would call scaling, and scaling up or scaling down. And I really like the term deflation of lifestyle, though I do think it kind of has a little bit of a negative connotation unless you really think about what it means. And so what it means and when it is used is often in a couple of situations, and that is when you want to retire or retire early, when you need to cut expenses and or you want more financial freedom, when you're feeling overextended, when there is financial stress. And in my case, it's something I'm working on because I want to cut back my work. And I also am trying to save to build more rental income on our property. And so I am slowly looking at deflation of lifestyle. What I would like to say that is really important about this concept is that it actually isn't necessarily a bad thing, and it doesn't have to hurt. It can actually be quite fun, or maybe that's just me being kind of the crazy mentality I have around money. But I like the challenge, and I feel that I often enjoy life more when I live like this. So let's talk about what that looks like in 10 different areas. I'm going to just call it my top 10 areas to deflate or scale your life. And that is, first of all, when you need to do this, you need to get a budget and get out and look at all of the things you spend money on and find out how much you spend per month and per year. So not just a month, but what your yearly expenses are. Because we have things that are periodic that don't come every month. Like maybe you pay your homeowner's insurance twice a year. I pay mine once a year. You pay your property taxes once a year. Some people have them escrowed in, but other people pay them at different rates of time. Also, things like homeowner's insurance. I'm sorry, I already said that. Things like utilities and life insurance. Sometimes those are quarterly. Auto insurance, I pay mine every 6 months because I get like $10 off a month. And on 3 cars, that's like 30, what's that? 30 times 6 is 360. That's a lot of money saved. So you can look at things where, first of all, you can begin to cut back. Every time I have done this, I have found that I have been able to shave anywhere from $100 to $300 off of our budget just by reviewing the budget, the yearly expenses, and making some phone calls. So the first one is look at all of your yearly expenses just in your 4 walls, and even other things that you could cut out that were beyond your housing expenses, like do you have a car payment, things like that. We're going to talk about that more too. Food is the second one. Food is one of the easiest areas to cut, and it's something that I'm really working on now. I've gone back to cash envelopes, and so I find it much easier to function on cash envelopes. I find myself going through the store, putting things back, or really thinking about what I'm buying and how I'm using it during the week, not just going in and filling my basket with everything I want, because I know I'm not going to pull out that debit card. I've got that cash. So cutting back on food. A couple of great cookbooks to use are Cooking More with Less and Good and Cheap. Those will help you cut back and still eat healthy. The next one is on your home expenses. Have you checked on your PMI? Do you need to sell your house and move to a less expensive house? I've had to do this before. I talk about it in a previous video. We had overbuilt, my ex-husband and I. And after about 3 or 4 years, we were house poor. And so we sold that new house, made a profit, and purchased a house that was half the cost. And we got a 15-year mortgage, and the payment was still half of what we had in the other house. Now, granted, we had to do a lot of remodeling, but it was still always far, far cheaper to do it that way. I'm helping a couple of people right now make some decisions about how to cut back on housing. In particular, One friend of mine has a property that's worth about, let's say, $160,000. After she pays the realtor fees and the equity, and she has equity left in the house and pays the mortgage, she will have between 40 and 50. If she goes and buys a property for 100,000 and puts 50 down, her payment will be cut in half, from $600 a month to $300 a month. So that's one way you can look at it. Also check when you're moving any HOA fees or property fees with the property you're buying, and make sure you include that in there. Maybe you live in a large house and you don't need it anymore. We moved from a 2,300 square foot house to an 1,800 square foot house. Our payment is the same because we have a 40-acre farm, but we are paying it off very quickly, and it is a fraction of our income. All right, on the car, so maybe you need to scale down and sell your car and get a cheaper car. If you're upside down in your car, there are a lot of videos out there of how to deal with that. And one in particular is on the Frugal Freaks. I will try to remember to link that in here. And she has one on how to get out of an upside down car. If you have an expensive car and you can go down to a cheaper car, one that gets better gas mileage, that is better on expenses, a lot of times the top 5 cars for saving money and that last a long time and that you can buy really good 5 to 10 years old used are Honda Accord, a Honda Civic, a Toyota Camry, a Toyota Corolla, and a Toyota Avalon. Those are the cars that have the rating for the longest lifespan and are the easiest to maintain and have the best reliability. So consider getting a less expensive car. I'm considering selling my 2015 Subaru and purchasing either a used Honda CR-V because I live on a farm and I'd like the all-wheel drive, or a used Toyota Avalon, because if I'm going to give up all-wheel drive, I would like to have a little bit more luxury because my car's kind of utilitarian, if you would. I want one or the other. All right, and on discretionary spending, going to cash envelope is the best way to cut discretionary spending. Living on a budget, not thinking you can afford things just because the money is in the bank. Starting to cut discretionary spending. Do you need to spend $300 a month on clothes and stuff at TJ Maxx? First of all, you need to get out at TJ Maxx if you're in there just hanging out. So start cutting that discretionary spending. A great way, what I do is I have 3 envelopes. All of our bills are paid out of our checking account, and that's just kind of an automatic thing. I also have extra money that goes on the house every month that I pay out of that. But discretionary spending, I have a cash envelope for groceries, an eating out and having fun envelope, and then personal money envelope. When Jim and I go out and do things together, that comes out of the fun envelope. If I go out to eat with my friends or I want to buy a shirt, that comes out of my personal stash. And then groceries comes out of that. Everything else, there is no budget for household items or anything like that. I just don't need it right now. If I did need it, I would budget for it and plan for it. Sell things. This is number 6. Sell things. Anything that you can find to sell and get rid of. Downsize your life. Get rid of the clutter. Get some money in the bank so that you have more money to live on. This will help you reduce your lifestyle, reduce the amount of stuff that you have to take care of. It will reduce your expenses, and that's really what deflation of lifestyle is. We do have a boat, but financially we're in pretty good shape. And so if we were going to reduce things or reduce our lifestyle even more, we would probably sell the boat. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you about one of my long-term plans with my husband on reducing our lifestyle should some things happen in retirement. Also, medical and health. See if you can find cheaper health insurance. I right now went from $20 a month health insurance to $800 a month when I got married because of our income change. And that's a lot. We have 6 kids. 3 of them are on our insurance, and they can stay on it till they're 26. And as soon as they turn 26, that will be the same time my husband turns 65 and goes on Medicare. So I'm going to then see about getting a cheaper policy for me. I would rather do that now, but the kids, 1 is going to school for his PhD, and 2 have just graduated college and are trying to get on their feet. So they're 23 years old. Well, we have 2 22-year-olds and 23-year-old on our insurance. So on medical and health also, I would say on your gym memberships, unless it's really adding value to your life, and it may, go ahead and cut those out and start working out at home. Take a walk in your neighborhood, turn on a YouTube video for free and work out to that. If you can find a treadmill, I had one for free given to me. You can find cheap used exercise equipment, gather things up. You can find tons of YouTube videos where you need absolutely nothing to work out. 10 to 20 minute videos, chair yoga, anything at all that you like. And I would highly recommend doing that if you don't have the money, or going to the library and checking for free or low cost exercise classes. Believe it or not, often the libraries offer yoga classes for about $10 a month. So it's a really good bargain. They also will often have things like Tai Chi. If you're a senior and you're over a certain age, check your local community center or your county extension agency. I know our local community center has all kinds of free exercise, yoga, Tai Chi, just general kind of exercise classes, and they're free. So check that out. Vacations. Could you go stay with family somewhere, or could you maybe take less vacations? And with scaling, what we often say is if you took 2 fancy vacations a year, or you went on a big vacation every year, could you go to every other year and do a local vacation in between? Think about how you can cut back and how you can still have that experience without having all of the expense. On free time and entertainment, just make a list of what you like to do. What do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy watching movies at home? Do you enjoy taking walks or reading books? The library is full of free entertainment. Everyone knows this. There are often, where I live, there are free concerts in the park. There's beautiful places to walk, and you can always find things to do that are free. So at home, we don't have cable. We just have Netflix and Prime. I enjoy reading. I enjoy cleaning the house, organizing, working out, playing with my dogs, taking walks, visiting my neighbors. So there's all kinds of things to do for free. If you enjoy doing things like going to live music and concerts, give yourself a budget for those each year, and it's not that you won't do them, you'll just cut back on doing them. If you go to a concert every other month, that's a lot of money. So what if you cut back to maybe 3 concerts a year? So think about that and how you can scale back and deflate some of what we can call lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. The more money we make, the more things we often buy. And it's easy to kind of get carried away. Tonight, my husband and I took a drive after dinner, and we started kind of thinking and talking about buying a little lake house cabin, because I grew up with one. And the more I thought about it, I was like, honey, paying the farm off right now is much more important to me than buying a lake house. So maybe down the line, we might do that once all of our bills are paid and we have all of our mortgages paid. We don't have any bills other than mortgage and the monthly bills. But that might be something we might do in the future, but right now it's just not feasible. The other thing is, on number 10, is relationships. How are your relationships? Are you spending time on your relationships? Deflation of lifestyle is something that you want to think about in relation to your relationships. If there's someone in your life that you love, or you have a partner, your children, even if they're grown, have a conversation with them before you do this. How is that going to affect your, say, Christmas giving or holiday giving, birthday giving? How is that going to affect where you live and the quality of your life? My husband loves this farm. He does not want to live anywhere else, and I love this farm too, but it's a lot to take care of. He's out on the tractor bush hogging right now, and there is barely any light left. So I want to go on into that. We've talked a little bit about what a retirement plan is going to look like, and he doesn't really want to think about it too much, but he does agree. So this is what we're doing. We're building a cabin right now for my son and as a vacation rental. We're going to build another one for a friend on our property to rent. She is an older lady. And then we're going to build another one, which my plan is we will Airbnb it for the time being, if that works out. If it doesn't, we'll get a long-term renter. But it will be a 1,000 square foot cabin, much smaller. The bottom half will be a full house that will be 800 square feet. The top part will be a loft, which could be like an artist loft or a guest room. Probably not something we would use a lot when we got older. But should we need to move, I have it mapped out in my brain how we could divide the property up and either rent it or sell it and keep just a small amount of land with the house on it if we had to move. Most likely, if we needed to live in a smaller house on the property, we would simply just move to the smaller house and rent out the other houses. And so that's kind of our long-term plan. If something were to happen to my husband, and we are 12 years apart, I would probably move into one of the smaller houses and rent the other houses and let my land be used for other purposes. If, like, for instance, if my neighbors wanted to graze their cattle or their horses and rent from me and use my barn. So there are all kinds of ways to deflate your lifestyle. If I decided to stay in this house, it's not terribly big. It's 1,800 square feet, if that. But it is a lot for one person. And actually, I feel like we overbuilt. We weren't really, we had kids at home when we built this house. And so it seemed normal to build a house with extra bedrooms and an office. And so now we have a workout room, an office, which this office is tiny. It's like 8 by 9. And we have a guest room. Well, we do use the guest room. Our son is coming home, and we're probably going to turn another room into a guest room / office. And we use the workout room every night. So if I decided to stay here, it's not a lot of house to take care of. I do have someone who helps me clean, and that brings a lot of value to my life. So that's not an area where I'm willing to deflate my life right now. So I really hate cleaning. I'm good at it. I did it for a living for a long time, which is why I don't want to do it now. I would rather give up other things like new furniture and having a lot of nice new clothes in a fancy car in order to pay to have my house cleaned twice a month. So we all have to think about what we want in our life and what's important to us. I know this was a really long video. Thank you for being with me. If you like this video and you're interested in making some of these changes, I have lots of ideas on my YouTube channel. Just hit thumbs up and subscribe and scroll through. I'm also a medical yoga therapist, so I have my playlist set up on intentional living, frugality, with tons and tons of ideas on how to save money, live with more happiness and joy in your life, and it won't be painful at all. It's actually extremely gratifying. So thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry if I'm acting a little tired tonight. I have hit a wall. Have a great day. Bye-bye.